as the largest fund company, Vanguard has a huge ability to influence corporate governance through the way it votes all those shares that it holds. Now, data from the Proxy Democracy Organization shows that about 85% of fund families vote their shares against management proposals more often than Vanguard does. Is Vanguard being as activist on behalf of its shareholders, its investors, as it should be?
We think so. We've taken a little bit different tack than many other companies. One of the things we do is we've prepared a set of principles by which we live, if you will, from a governance standpoint. And we put them on our website. We make sure everybody can review them. But I sent out letters to 900 different public corporations earlier in the year, restating all of our positions on governance. And what we wanted to establish, and we had done this several years prior, what we want to do is establish a dialogue with the companies. And frankly, it's been gratifying to see the response. And we've had a lot of people come back to us and say, we like these principles, here's how we're applying them. And frankly, we get into also great discussions where somebody may be doing something that's at odds with one of our principles, and maybe for a good reason. Now, one of our data points that's really interesting, about 6 or 7 years ago, before we sent these letters, we voted on comp in particular against something like 70% of management proposals. That number's down, actually, and you'd say that's counterintuitive given what we've just gone through, but we've actually seen people change their comp structures, and we think we had some influence there.
Well, it's a very plausible thing to think that a letter from Vanguard might make them stop and think about what they're doing.
And, again, this is a different approach than some of the activist shareholders take. Many of the activist shareholders want to, in a sense, try the case in public.
Yeah.
We think having a good dialogue with the company is a really effective way to get our point across.
Yeah, yeah. So in other words, the proposal that you might vote against may never appear as a result.
You may have that occur. You may have it modified. Occasionally somebody actually may have a good reason. I could give you a little example. We had a company who one of their directors did not meet our attendance requirements, and so we voted. We told the company we're voting against this director. And this was a director who was a non-U.S. citizen. There had been some travel issues, and the company was passionate about the need that this individual was going to help them open up, new markets and so forth. And they made they laid out a game plan for us where they would, over the next 18 months, what the attendance expectations were going to be, and if the expectations weren't met, then they would ask the director to leave the board. And it was one of those clear cases where we think we were incredibly effective, and we actually changed our vote as a result.